Awesome. Well, welcome to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier recap show, episode 2. I'm so excited to kind of break down this episode. I have a very, very special friend. Uh, Caleb is going to join us and break down the episode. But first, before we break down this episode, my man Caleb, take a couple minutes just to share with the listeners, about yourself and what kind of got you into comics. Or I was thinking about this earlier. I don't even know what it would be called. Like, I know there's pop culture, I know there's like I don't know what this would be called in terms, like, the comic book lovers, Marvel Cinematic Universe and others. I don't know what it would be called, but what kind of got you into all this?
I would say, like, back in the days, back in the 80s, I used to watch like Incredible Hulk. They used to have the show, and they did some Captain America movie, like TV movies and stuff. So I grew up watching that.
Mm.
Um, and then like comic books was, that was something we were always trading in school. Like, hey, I got this, I'll trade you this for this one.
Mm.
And it was something you could sneak and hide in your binder at school. Like
Right.
at home, it was small enough. I'm like, okay, I hide it from my parents because they're like, they don't want all the violence. And I was like, oh no, this is amazing. Like
Right.
this, I love reading. And then for it to have, like, you didn't see anything on TV. There was nothing like comic books on TV back then.
Mm.
So I'm so excited now that they're doing all these shows and movies, because it's like, man, I've been waiting 20-30 years for
Mm.
for them to finally show what we've been imagining and thinking about, when we were little.
For sure, for sure. What was like your favorite comic book, if back at that time when we first got into it? What stuck out to you?
They have this, it's coming back on Disney, but it's What If Comics.
Right. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like I used to read those because it was crazy. You'd have these insane storylines, that they were just like, what if this happened? And it was old. You didn't have to worry about like trying to collect 15 comics for the story. It was that one
Mm-hmm.
comic is going to tell you this whole insane story, and then the next one is like, what if this happened? And that was always
Mm-hmm.
exciting. I love that.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's right. I forgot that they're doing a series about the animated, if I remember correctly. Oh, that's gonna be
Yeah,
dope.
yeah,
Awesome.
yes,
So
yes.
yeah, so far we're in episode 2 of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So we're covering episode
Sorry,
2.
my
Oh,
dog.
it's all good. we're I have kids, so I might have a child running, crashing. It's all good. um, from we're in the second episode. We're talking about that tonight. The first episode. What were your thoughts on the first episode?
I was excited. Anytime we get some black representation in comics, and then
Right.
not only in comics but actually get to see it on TV, it's like, ah, it just
Mm.
makes me, it makes it nice. And so I was excited to see, a show that's going to be focusing, on minority, on a black man. And I
Yeah.
also think, in comparison, I didn't like Iron Man as much as I liked all the, War Machine or Falcon. I always thought their
Hmm.
suits and just the way they did things was way cooler anyway. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Nice, nice. Well, man, let's get into it because yeah, I'm interested
Yes.
to hear more about your thoughts on what you just said, because that obviously, is a thread throughout at least the first 2 episodes, definitely. So, episode 2 is entitled "The Star Spangled Man," and I don't know how about you, but the new Captain America, I call him the fake Captain. But like
Straight up fake.
I got
Yes.
so angry when that part towards the end of the first episode when he was being introduced, and so this episode, the Star Spangled Man, we kind of enter on John Walker, I believe that's his name. Is my
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah. John Walker. Yeah.
yeah, so we start in on him, in this locker room, and it turns out it's his old high school. He's reminiscing, and his girlfriend. They don't really say girlfriend, fiance, whoever
Yeah.
comes
I, w-
in.
I
Yeah,
was confused.
she comes in and, like, gives him the pep talk, and right off the bat, like, Well, first off, yeah, give him the pep talk. He's about to put on his suit. His friend comes in, and they set up the scene of him running out into the football stadium, and sitting down to to do an interview. What were your thoughts on this opening scene with him, especially after
But
the end of the first
first,
episode?
first off, when they announced it, I was like, and you know it's happening on the at the end of the first episode,
Mm-hmm.
but I was still like, could they found a more like the jutting jaw, like, hey, Americans, and I was like, oh my god, like, ooh, and then I read an interview where he said he hoped people don't, they didn't hate him.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm just gonna do the show. I'm gonna try to do it as best as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh yeah.
the opening scene, I love, I love some college band. So I was like, all right, I love watching those videos, and then they just, it was such a completely against everything the first original Captain America would have wanted.
Mm.
First off, that was so like, it's like if it actually had been in America, real for real, they would have done dancers and all
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't trust his friend Hoskins.
Mm.
I don't know about him. He seems like he's gonna roll up and be a little shady on the side. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. He was just like, hey, and then yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
about him.
Yeah.
Was,
No, you're totally right. I think thematically and cinematically how it looked, I love like that scene, like you said, of the band and everything, although
yeah,
it didn't make total sense, like but
no,
anyways, so that, but
yeah,
it looked great. The thing that, like, and I understand this from a storytelling perspective on how you want to set up some pathos with the character, even though he's,
mm,
he may be hated now or later, like, and it just made me hate this dude even more. Like, I knew they were trying to like set up to some sympathy with him, with his, the woman and his friend, and like you kind of get his backstory. And so I was like, oh no, like he's not Cap. Like my wife was laughing at me because I'm like, no, I wasn't yelling, but I was like talking back to the TV. I was like, he's not Captain America. Like everyone's, is the new
yeah,
Cap. And so but yeah, like they set up his backstory a little bit. You kind of start to wonder, where this guy's coming from, who is he. But you're right, it's totally against what Cap would have done. Like I thought about it as you're talking, the first Avenger, and how much Cap hated going on those little shows and like performing. Like that was totally what
yeah,
they
knocking
were
out
doing.
Hitler.
Yo,
Yeah, he had to do that over. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, so we get this the setup, and for those listening, I may not go beat for beat in order on how this is what I thought were the point. But then we get, obviously Sam and Bucky, they meet up. Sam is trying to follow the Flag Smashers, the group that I called the terrorist flash mob from the first episode. They're
yeah,
following them, and then they realize they're hijacking the shipment of whatever. I don't think they said at the time, and so they go to,
yeah.
yeah, they go to intercept them on this truck.
Mm-hmm.
um but before that, we get the little plug from, we get the White Wolf, White Panther mention from Sam. I thought that was hilarious. But
Yeah,
they intercept this group that's still in this truck, and then they get into this big fight. The new Cap and his sidekick come in. What do you think of this sequence here?
oh, I thought the sequence was great, especially when I was just kind of recapping just a little bit ago, where he
Mhm.
comes in and he's like hello, and then there's like he sees the girl, in the back of the truck,
That
and
was
she
super
kind of goes
creepy.
back, and I'd have been like, okay, instantly I would have thought, why are you hiding? Like, what's
Right.
going on? And then she just knocks them right out of the truck. I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
it was a great sequence. But I was like looking at the way the people were fighting,
Hmm.
and I'm like, they're not fighting with like the skills that you would think someone as a real super soldier. So I'm wondering how that's going to play out,
Oh, that's a
because they
good
don't
point.
seem to have the same like martial arts training, or
Yeah.
like that the other people had.
Yeah.
It was
I
more
have
of
a
like punching and throwing.
Yeah, I'm gonna have something in my theory section for that. But yeah, you're right. Like I thought that was
Okay,
super.
sorry.
No, 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 you're good. I thought it was super. I thought it was creepy when like she just like smiles all of a sudden. I was like, this girl is so weird. But yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. There's no like technical skills to them. They're just really strong. and so they overpower him. The new Cap comes in, which, man, there's so much that I don't like about this Cap, but I understand. I understand the character. I understand what's going on. But like he comes in, and like they're obviously overmatched, but he knows how to throw the shield. You know, he's doing that
Yeah.
really well. But he gets, you know, they get beat up, and that and then, you know, the new Cap and his sidekick. I like that when they're in the truck, they're both kind of sitting, and like and then this when the fake Cap tries to get Sam to like join them, and he says, you know, I can use Cap's, you know, sidekick, or not sidekick, like wingman. He says wingman, and then Sam's like, oh, that was the word that like kind of sent him off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they kind of split ways there. I think this is the part where I kind of started to see like the kind of character shifts with the new Cap, because, you know, they portray him at the beginning as like, you know, as Cap, and, you know, he wants to do his best, and like, you know, all that. But then you kind of see some layers where he's kind of like either into himself or more, or has like a little dark side. Did you any of that stick out to you when you were watching that?
Yeah, because it's, you know, whenever you see someone who's like, hi, I'm nice and I'm a great guy, it's always like, okay, I'm gonna be a little wary of, you know, of
Mm-hmm.
you. And you know, how long can you be pushed if someone isn't accepting? Like when he was trying to get them to get into the car, you
Mm-hmm.
know, the scene before when he's like, come on, you know, it's 20 miles, just get in there, I want to talk
Mm-hmm.
to you guys. And they're like, no, not having it, you know. It just, you can tell that there's the way his face changes, or the way his
Mm.
face reacts, you know, to what they're saying. You know,
Yeah.
there's a little something like he's like, I'm captain, and I'm gonna do what I need to do, and you're either on board and we're all good, or we'll see. You know?
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, you kind of see that, and it's not the first time that we see that. You know, we see it right in the car ride. So we once they realize who they're up against, Sam and Bucky, they realize they need to go visit. Bucky says we need to go visit this guy, and we see they go to visit a guy named Isaiah Bradley, who has a history in the comic books, which again plays into what you said earlier. He was kind of like he was the first captain, a black Captain America, essentially, that he was given the super soldier serum, and so he recognizes Bucky because like they got into this big fight. He took half of Bucky's arm, but we kind of
Yeah.
see that. And I think to maybe those that maybe haven't read the comics or followed along, it maybe like a big reveal that there's more than, you know, there's a lot of super soldiers in the past, and this guy was one of them. He throws that tin box into the wall and tells them to get out. What were you expecting this when it happened? What were your thoughts when this scene went down?
I was a little confused when they first, because I was like, okay, he's old, but he's super soldier, so it's like, what version of the serum did he get? Because
Yeah,
like Captain America, well, I mean, he was frozen, so I guess that makes sense. He's
yeah.
aging differently. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes how they want to do the storyline, if they're going
Mm-hmm.
to make somebody age up or not. But yeah, I was like, oh, I want to hear more about what was going on, you know, where there was a black guy who
Yeah.
was, you know, Captain America basically. Because that, the way he was talking about it in 51, it's like, okay, that's after World War II.
Mm-hmm.
That's like Cold War, starting to get into Korean War.
Yeah.
Like, that, you know, that'd be interesting storyline.
Yeah, no, that's right. I think, and maybe this is part of like the theme of the series is kind of diving into the super soldier lore and what happened. But yeah,
Yeah,
I was like, I knew, like I didn't know about this character. Like I had to do a little research afterwards
yeah,
because I wasn't a big Captain America like comic book reader.
me either, me either.
And yeah, so we pick up on this character now, and from what I'm understanding, there's a lot that they Marvel could go with this character in terms of him and his grandson, because I guess his grandson is becomes a young Avenger or something like that down the line. The kid that
Oh,
let him
okay.
in, yeah, yeah. But so
Yeah,
you see this kind of expanding, and I think to your point when you're saying earlier about the racial lines that's going in here, right when they leave, we see the cops roll up on Bucky and Sam, which man, like I don't know how you thought. So me, like, and maybe this is a sign of the times, like I had totally like we had just last year gone through like, George Floyd and all that stuff. And for a second, I'm like, oh yeah, like this is still what's going on.
Yeah.
And so we see this happen, and we see them like almost try to take, they try to take Sam away. They're talking to Bucky, is this guy bothering you? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like,
Yeah, I know. I was thinking the same, and I'm like, this is not the first time. This poor
right.
guy, like, I mean, we've all been stopped. We've all been
Mhm.
talked to, like, hey, what's going on? Where you going? Where you headed
Right.
to? And I'm like, and he's a superhero
Yeah.
who, you know, he's all over. You see him all over the news, and still they're like, what's going on? You know.
Right. I talked about that in the first episode. I'm like, how can he not get a bank loan? Like he's the Falcon.
Oh,
And
I know that made me so angry. Oh my
yeah,
goodness, I was like, oh
I couldn't believe it. I was like,
gosh.
yeah. So this show is definitely tugging at those layers, but we see that, and then the guy, ends up Bucky ends up getting arrested because he missed his therapy session, so he broke his parole, which
Yeah.
is crazy. And so they fake Cap and his partner bust get him out of jail. And again, we see that little point and peek into the new fake Cap's personality, because they refuse to join him. Still, they go to a therapy session. Both of them. I thought this scene was funny when they're both staring at each other. The therapist makes Bucky and Sam look at each other. Because he has to
I'm
take
sorry.
the
Hold on just a sec. I'm having what
no
happened.
problem.
I had something updated in the background, and okay, there we go. Okay,
Dang. All right, yeah. So
okay.
we are in the Bucky's therapist. She makes them go into a session. I thought this part was funny when they had to like stare each other. What do you think of that?
They were so close. It was like I would be uncomfortable with any of my friends even being that. Like they were
Right.
like knee to knee. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
this is one of the things, like, I thought of Civil War, like Captain America Civil War,
Mm-hmm.
when like they first kind of saw that dynamic between Bucky and Sam. I'm glad that they're kind of like throwing this dynamic, because they're exploring their relationship. But yeah, I imagine like this scene was probably hard for them to like kind of get through, like they're that close. um, but yeah, so they get out, and so we kind of go transition to the scene with the flag smashers. And again, just like the first beginning of this episode, when you kind of see them trying to build some sympathy with the fake Captain America, with the flag smashers, we peeking on, I think the girl's name is Mary or something, the leader, the little girl. Like
Mm-hmm.
we see that
Yeah.
like they're on the run, and they go to like the safe house, and she gets this text from this guy that says he's going to kill her, but she doesn't let the other group know. What do you think they're trying to set up here? What are your thoughts on like this group when they show?
I don't know. Like the way that guy was when he got him into the safe house, like he was like, oh my goodness, you're so wonderful. We got
Yeah,
food for you, we got clothes, we got everything. They set up the house. Like, wow, this is like what has happened, during the blip, and what have
right.
these people have been doing? Like I'm fascinated. They should just do a show about the blip.
Hmm,
Just life
that's
during
true.
life during that. But yeah, it's very interesting to see how they treat them. And then I couldn't even think of who they were talking to, who it
Hmm.
could be. I was trying to imagine. I was like, who could it be? I I think it's just going to be one of those things where they're not going to give us too much information
Right.
until until something happens. They don't want to get, because I think it's going to be a big.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a big, like a big name or something, a big reveal in my
Right.
opinion.
Yeah, I was wondering when they're gonna throw the first like mystery. Not that this is the first mystery, but you know how like WandaVision,
Yeah.
there's so many like, oh, what could this mean, or how's this, and because it was leading towards this movie. This show, from my understanding, it isn't leading to a movie. I know they're doing other series and
No.
stuff. So like, I was wondering how they do the mystery. And so yeah, we kind of get those layers of who is this guy that's texting her. Now we see like who is this group actually, because at first, they make it seem like, oh, this group that wants the world to go back to how it was during the blip. But then now we see that, they're on the run, and there's kind of some more backstory towards this group. You're right. Like it'd be great to understand. Um, and then again, we see uh, we see them, they escape, you know, with the serum. And so my thing, I'm like, I don't know if I might have missed this, but the stuff that they're taking, is that super soldier serum that they have?
I thought it was medicine.
Medicine?
I thought it
Okay.
was just medicine that they were stealing, but maybe it's serum. I don't know. I have to. I already watched it like twice. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
watch it again
Yeah, no,
and check that
same.
part again.
Same,
Yeah,
because and the only reason I asked that, because I was thinking of like one of the theories I had about that. We'll come to the end, but yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it again. So if you're
okay.
listening, if those listening know what it is, feel free to share. So that ends, you know, one of the group members, they sacrifice themselves, and then
Yeah,
we get a more of a peek into the Cap's dark side, the new Cap's dark side, when he says, you know, get out of my way if you're not going to join us. Uh,
yeah. I was like, oh,
yeah,
okay, it's gonna be
yeah,
like that.
yeah. So I
And
was like, oh.
again, Hoskins is like in the background, like I'm like, okay, what are you doing?
Right, yeah, yeah, and
I
you could
want to know
totally
because
no, you could totally see the
go ahead,
tension
sorry.
between him and Bucky. Like Bucky hates this guy.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm interested to see how, if they give a little bit more background, because from what they were saying, and I don't know so much about the other. There was like a character called U.S. Agent in the comic
yeah,
books
hmm,
that was kind of, yeah, that was kind of like what this character kind of seems to be.
yeah,
But I don't know, does he have, like, was he given anything? Because they just said he tested off the charts, and then they
yeah.
showed him throwing the shield, and I'm like, well, does that mean he's like not a mutant, but like, is he
Right,
just really strong? Because he seemed to
yeah,
get beat up pretty easily on the truck. Like,
right,
he
yeah.
got knocked off, and then that was it. And I was like, oh, okay, like, do something.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think that's what adds to, like, I think that's the good thing about what Marvel's doing, because they could have easily just followed straight through with the comics. So I think it's their opportunity to kind of change things to make it maybe better, or just tell the story different. Because yeah, in the comic book, he has a super soldier serum. He's just like Cap, but he's just crazy. Like he's like people have said, like he's a combination between like Captain America and the Punisher. Like he like does things his own
At
way.
whatever cost. Okay,
Right,
okay,
right,
yeah, yeah,
right. And
yeah.
so yeah, my speculation is that he's probably going to transition to that. Like we see his dark, these
Okay,
little elements come in. But yeah, so we see more glimpses. It just makes me want to fight this guy even more, you know, every time he talks. And so
yes,
we end with Bucky realizing that they need to talk to someone who has experience with Hydra, because they want to know how all the super soldier serum is out in the open now with the flag smashers and whatnot. And so we get the reveal that they need to go talk to Zemo from Civil War, and it ends with him, you know, them showing him in the prison. So um, were you expecting? I knew Zemo was in the show, but what do you think his role is going to
yeah.
be?
I don't know. I think there's definitely gonna have to break him out,
Mm-hmm.
because they're not gonna. I think that's what he's either gonna break himself out, or they're gonna need to break him out to further the adventure, because I know they're gonna have to be traveling like around the world, and they're gonna need to find out. I don't know that
Yeah.
much of Zemo from the comic books. He
Mm-hmm.
wasn't really in. I remember him, but he kind of had a weird,
Right.
strange costume. Like,
Yeah.
if you ever see, I don't know if you've seen it.
I've
Yeah,
seen,
it's like the strangest
mhm.
costume. I'm like,
Yeah, I'm like,
so
what
I never really paid much.
functionality is this? Yeah. Yeah. I was like,
So
I'm like, he's
but
got to be hot all the time. Like, he's got to
yeah,
be. Yeah, man.
that's funny. Yeah, I don't know. Like, besides that, I'm wondering, like, we need to bring in some women.
Mm, yeah.
So far the storyline has been pretty man centric, and I think we're
Mhm.
gonna need. I think they're gonna introduce either that girl that's with Walker.
Mm.
I just like follow like patterns in TV shows and
Oh
things
yeah.
like that. It's like they
Tropes. Yeah.
can't just make it all about these guys. So it's like they're gonna have to introduce a nice, like, maybe more information on the girl who's a super
Mm-hmm.
soldier, um, another side character, somebody who's gonna
Mm-hmm.
assist them. I'm waiting for that.
Yeah, well, Sharon Carter from Civil War, she's
Uh-huh.
gonna be in it. The girl that Cap killed.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
There
she's
you
in it.
go.
There you
There
go.
you
Yeah,
go.
so you're right. That's probably next episode. So here, man, like again, I knew Zemo was gonna be in it.
Yeah.
But like what I was telling Anthony, who was on the first episode, like this is only a 6 episode series. So there's 4 episodes. Like how many different ways could this go in 4 episodes?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I thought I didn't expect. I knew Zemo was gonna be in it, but I didn't expect him
Yeah.
to still be locked up already. Like I either
Yeah.
thought the show was gonna start with him escaping, or he's already escaped because maybe he got blipped out and he comes back, whatever. So now we got it. That's another element of him, like you said, them breaking him out. And then is he gonna be working with them? Is he gonna double cross? I'm like, all these, how are they gonna fit all
Yeah. Is
these
it gonna be
possible
bad? Is it
timelines?
gonna be
Yeah,
good?
in
Yeah.
4 episodes. Yeah. So
Yes.
it'll be interesting to see what happens. And I heard that he's gonna have a more comic uh authentic costume. So we're gonna see
Okay.
the
Okay.
full
We're
beanie
gonna
and
see.
mask. And I hope
Yeah.
they got to show him
You
sweating
guys.
every time he takes it off, because he's got
They
to.
have to
Also,
mopping his face like a comic or
right,
gospel singer.
right. No, that's true.
Okay, take it on.
You can have a rag attached to his utility belt. Nah, for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
All right, so that caps off the episode. A lot to be seen. So
Yeah.
we're gonna take a quick break and then come back in
Okay.
and share our likes and dislikes about the episode. So
Fair enough.
so we're back. We're gonna, after we just shared the recap, now we're gonna talk about some likes and dislikes. So Caleb, what did you like about this episode? Or some, it doesn't have to be one thing, it can be multiple.
I, I'm happy again that I love the action and I love seeing Falcon um, getting his due and getting some focus on him, because I think we saw enough of Bucky to a certain degree throughout the other episode, other movies.
Yeah.
But I really dig the style of suit and everything that Sam has.
Mm.
So I'm so happy to see see that happen. See him flying around and with his his drone and stuff, the
Mm-hmm.
capabilities, because they didn't really show that too much
That's
in
true.
the other stuff as much. So that was nice. And then
Yeah.
that the super soldier just snapped it in half. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like,
You gotta make a new one now.
and I'm wondering like who's apparently he's just doing his own upkeep on his suit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like
So
there's nobody like.
yeah, the first episode said that like there are people that were working on it, but they kept glitching out, the government. So I'm thinking the government is fixing it, but he's doing it himself because they keep
Yeah.
messing it up.
Well, they were tracking him too through it, so I'm like,
Right,
he's gonna have to figure out something about that, because now that he knows that they're tracking him through the drone,
right.
you know, and they're like, it's our equipment, and I'm like, oh, that just makes me like, when the government's like, oh, we'll just take whatever we want from you, or he's not getting paid in the first episode,
Yeah.
they're talking about you don't have income really. And I'm
Dang.
like, this guy's doing all this and he ain't even getting paid. Like,
Right.
Tony Stark
Man.
is gone now. He had all the money.
Mm-hmm. That's
I
true.
never thought about. It's kind of an interesting kind of interplay between like, as a black person doing all this work,
Yeah.
saving the world, and he's not even getting anything for,
Dang.
like, he's not getting money. He can't, gets caught by the police, can't get a loan. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. You're right. Maybe this will be the opportunity. Maybe they have like a new Red Wing that maybe Iron Man gifts
Yeah.
made for him or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. I know for me, what I liked is them diving more into the history of the super soldier serum. I think the reveal of Isaiah
Yeah.
was great. Uh yeah, I thought that was good. And yeah, the action, I'm glad like they're trying to subvert a lot of expectations of what's going to happen. So I like that. What about some things that you didn't like or thought maybe could be better?
Um, it's still so early, but it's not, considering it's only
Mhm.
6 episodes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I want to know, who the girl is.
Mm.
I need to know more about Hoskins, his
Mm.
little lackey. I need to know about what's going on with that, because I'm like, come on, man, like, let's get
Yeah.
it together. So I wish they had a kind of jumped ahead a little bit. I mean, the one guy who kills himself, not kills himself, but like sacrifices himself for the
Mhm.
girl, like, I was like, oh, we just met him, and like they're already like ready, like they're ride or die for
Yeah.
each other. So it's like they must
Mhm.
have. It has to have been for a long time. It's got a
Right.
year's worth of, several years worth of relationship
Yeah.
for someone to do that. But I thought it was kind of it was action, but it was, you don't really know what's going on with the story with
Hmm.
that. He was just like, hey, he just walked into it. Like,
Hmm.
he pushed over a light pole and then was just like, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom. And I'm like, dude, as a super soldier, like, you could have killed people. You could have
Hmm.
thrown things at the. He literally
Right.
just walks in and gets shot.
That's
And I
true.
thought that was just kind of, I hate when they do stuff like that in movies where it's
Hmm.
like, I'm gonna stick, like, if the guy is gonna be there and he's gonna try to slow down everybody so that people can get away,
Yeah.
like, don't just run in like, shooting or
Yeah.
something. Like,
Because if that was
I'd like
it,
to see
I'm
someone
like,
smarter. Yeah.
right. Because if
Go
that
ahead,
was
sorry.
the case, I mean, he probably could have still got away. Because like you're right, he didn't
Yeah.
really stall them that much, and they
No.
got away. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Um, I think I want to know. I'd be interested to know the backstory of the show because originally this was supposed to debut before WandaVision from what
Mm,
I remember, but
okay.
but I know when they're filming, they got delayed because of COVID, and they had to finish filming like later last year. And so I know a lot.
Okay.
Like I don't, I know because Black Widow was supposed to come out last summer, and
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how much of the storytelling got messed up because you would think 6 episodes. WandaVision was 9. You could have spent 1 or 2 episodes with the backstory on the Flag Smashers, like you said, like maybe highlighting what happened during the blip to make them so radical, other than just saying, oh, they just
Yeah.
need to go back to the way they were. Yeah, I'd be interested to know if that played a factor or not. But for me, I think one of the things that I thought could have been better. Um, I think hold on, uh yeah, I think yeah, just what I just said. I think I wish we would know had a little more backstory early on, and they may do it in the next episodes, but early on to set up,
Yeah.
like I said, the flag smashers and their intentions, because it's a real like quick switch. Like the first episode, they're this flash mob, kicking people into poles, and then this episode they're like, oh well, they're maybe more sympathetic. They're trying to like save, like on the run and all this stuff. Totally different
Yeah.
contrast in my opinion. So I feel like that was kind of just out of nowhere. And um, I know like it's a trope to like for shows to like set up empathy and everything like that. But for me, I'm like I need a little bit more. I need more to if I'm
Yeah.
supposed to care, like give me a little bit more. Yeah.
I hope they do go back and give us more information about Isaiah. That actor, he's one of there's always actors for me that as soon as I see them in something and I'm like, well, at least he's in it,
Yeah.
and I'll go ahead and I'll watch that show.
True.
So I saw him and I was like, oh, okay, like he's a good actor. I mean, he's been in a lot of like comic book shows and
Right.
different things. So I was really excited. I'm like, if you don't do anything with him again, like if that's all we ever see of him,
Mhm.
I'm gonna be like upset. I'm gonna
Right.
need to see him at
He
least
was
somewhere else.
he was so
Yeah,
good. Yeah, for real. Like you felt the tension. You felt like everything that he went through, like just in that small scene. Yep, it's a great
yeah.
job. Awesome. So now we get to come to the part where we like to call future sight. So we get to give our hot take. So the first take is just what do you think or expect to happen, maybe for the next episode or future by the end of the series. Just a regular mundane regular take.
I expect to see Falcon with the shield,
Mm.
even if it's just that the Captain America drops it or something, and he gets it and he kicks butt. Even if he gives it back, I want to see
Yeah.
him show. I want to see him show up and be like, okay, this is what I can do with it.
Right. True. Yep. Yeah. Me, my
You know,
my hot take last episode. I just expected like them to, they kind of set up the Bucky and Sam dynamic. I expected this to explore that more. I think for me, I expect like the true puppet master to reveal, because there's a lot of theories going on
yes.
whether some people think, oh, it's the government that's behind the super soldiers. Some think
Mm-hmm.
it's some rogue scientists. I expect to find out who's kind of like the main player. I thought it was going to be Zemo until like now, like they're kind of setting
Yeah.
up to be something else. So I expect to kind of figure out who's really pulling the strings here, because there are only
Yeah.
four episodes left. Um,
Yeah. It's got to accelerate.
yeah,
It's got to accelerate because I mean, if you got 6 episodes, we're already
yeah,
a third of the way through.
right.
Like it's gonna
Yeah,
have to exponentially kick it up. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. They talk about what in high school writing. You have your rising action, and then rising action. We're about there right now. Yeah. Um,
Exactly.
all right, super hot take. What is your wildest theory that you can think of that you maybe it's something you want to see happen, but what's your out there take?
uh, I'd like to see somebody from because like somebody from the super soldier that we kind of know about. I know we can't do Deadpool
Yeah.
because he was part of that whole like Weapon X and all that was
Mm-hmm.
part of the super soldier like
Offshoot. That's an
integration
offshoot
of
of, yeah.
that. So it's like yeah, offshoot. Yeah, so it's like I'd like to see somebody another superhero.
Mm.
Like I like how they have like these supporting, not supporting, but like they don't have powers, but they're there fighting the fight and doing all that. But it's like I'm gonna need some another superhero, supervillain jumping in there.
Yeah.
Somebody who, even if it's just a cameo,
Yeah.
Blade, somebody, like
Yeah.
somebody jumping in.
We know. Blade comes out of nowhere. Yeah. So last episode I already did my old man Cap hot take, so I can't use that. I think for this one, my hot, did I write it down? I don't know if this is, you tell me if this is a hot enough take, but my hot
Okay.
take is that I think Sam gets the super soldier serum, um,
Ooh. Oh.
and uses it to fight whoever. Because I'm thinking, all these people. I imagine more people are going to show up that has the super soldier serum, and Bucky can't fight all of them by himself, and
Yeah.
so either they need to have some reinforcements that can level the playing field, or Sam gets the serum and he's able to because one of the things that I thought was like, I'm thinking, when they're showing John Walker throwing the shield and everything, I'm like, part of the reason why Cap was able to like be effective because he's strong enough to like throw a shield and like catch it. Like a regular man, you're
Yeah.
gonna get tired throwing that shield
Yeah.
around and even catching it. If you're throwing it, and so I'm like, how, like a regular person, your arm will fall off. Like, and so I'm thinking like,
Yeah.
that's part of the reason why Cap was so effective. He was super strong, so he could do that easily. So I'm thinking, man, like, I hope Sam, or I don't know, I hope. I think that'll be my hot take, that Sam gets a super soldier serum to help level the playing field against all these super soldiers that are out there.
Do you think they'll do temporarily?
Yeah, I feel
Like
like
they
they
like to
would.
do, like he didn't go through the whole process, so it's only going to last for this fight, or are they going to
Right.
do? I'd like to see
Yeah.
them like keep it. That's fine with me. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Like it's the
when
reveal.
you
Like,
combine with a suit and that, yeah,
yeah, I think, yeah, I bet they do something like that. Like it's temporary, or like they only had the last vial was like a little drop left and something like that. Yeah. There's always something. Awesome. Well, yeah. So lastly, before we close off, anything, what are you reading currently, or reading or watching outside of this show
uh,
that's kind of got your interest?
uh, the new show that just came out on Amazon Prime, the first 3 episodes, I think it's called Legendary. It's an
Mm,
animated show based off of a cartoon and based off a comic book.
mm-hmm.
Um, and so that's the newest thing that I'm going to be watching.
Okay.
Just came out yesterday.
I'm
So
gonna check it out.
yeah,
For,
I think it's an Image comic or something.
oh, okay. For folks listening, Caleb has like all the out of the box crazy good references for you to look at. I remember you gave me the to look up Bitterroot, and I love it.
Yeah.
And so now
Okay. Good.
I'm gonna check this out because I haven't heard of this, but I need to check out Legendary.
Yeah.
You're the guy to
No.
go to when you need some good references.
The problem is I'm just kind of obsessive about looking to see what new stuff is coming out, and so that's part of the problem.
Hey, Legendary. All right, I'm gonna check that out. Awesome. Well, yeah, I'm
No,
excited
sorry,
to
no. It's called Invincible.
Invincible.
It,
Okay,
and
Invincible.
the main character is played by the um Stephen Ewan from Walking Dead. I don't know if you
Okay, yeah.
watch
Now I know who that is.
the Asian guy. Yeah, the Asian guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
he plays.
Okay.
It's kind of like he's in a family of yeah. Anyways, it's good. It's good. Check
Okay. Invincible.
it out. Yeah, Invincible.
Okay,
That's
I'm
it.
gonna check that out. Awesome, Caleb. Thank you so much for sitting down and chatting about
Yes.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. I cannot wait to see how this show plays out, and
Yes.
I don't expect my hate for Fake Cap to die down. I'm gonna constantly want
No.
to fight him. So
Yes.
yeah, awesome, man. Thank you again for coming to share your thoughts, insights. For those
Thank
listening,
you for having me.
yeah, for those listening, if you guys have any hot takes or thoughts or things that we missed, feel free to drop in the comment section. dtimepodcast@gmail.com and dtime podcast on all social media. You can find me. Awesome. Thanks again, Caleb, and we'll see you guys next week. Awesome.
Watch it.